Arthur the Rat. Once there was a young rat named Arthur who could never make up his mind. Whenever his friends asked him if he would like to go out with them, he would only answer, "I don't know." He wouldn't say yes or no either. He would always shirk making a choice. His Aunt Helen said to him, "Now look here. No one is going to care for you if you carry on like this. You have no more mind than a blade of grass." On a rainy day, the rats heard a great noise in the loft. The pine rafters were all rotten, so that the barn was rather unsafe. At last, the joists gave way and fell to the ground. The wall shook, and all the rats' hair stood on end with fear and horror. "This won't do," said the captain. "I'll send out scouts to search for a new home." Within 5 hours, the 10 scouts came back and said, "We found a stone house where there is room and board for all of us. There is a kindly horse named Nellie, a cow, a calf, and a garden with an elm tree." The rats crawled out of their little houses and stood on the floor in a long line. Just then, the old one saw Arthur. "Stop," he ordered coarsely. "You are coming, of course." "I'm not certain," said Arthur, undaunted. "The roof may not come down yet." "Well," said the angry old rat, "we can't wait for you to join us. Right about face, march." Arthur stood and watched them hurry away. "I think I'll go tomorrow," he said calmly to himself. "But then again, I don't know. It's so nice and snug here." That night there was a big crash. In the morning, some men, with some boys and girls, rode up and looked at the barn. One of them moved a board, and he saw a young rat, quite dead, half in, half out of his hole. Thus the shirker got his due. Kit. The quick little kitten thinks it bit a pretty big fish. Dress. Many of Jeff's best friends slept in mesh tents in pleasant weather. Trap. The harrowing black cat dashes at any man and lands on the plaid carriage. Lot. The honest swan stops and acknowledges the fox dodging the bothered wasp. Strut. Mother loves butter that comes from the southern countryside. Foot. The butcher should put the pudding in the wooden nook to cook. Bath. Can't half the staff ask to transfer to the enchanted castle in France? Cloth. Lawrence often offers Ross a Florida orange and horribly strong, frothy Boston coffee. Nurse. The early bird preferred the earthy worm. Fleece. These unique machines teach people to speak and reason. Face. The raven waits until late day for the great wave to break. Palm. Father and Ma said to calm the facade in the Nevada Plaza. Thought. The small walrus caught the hawk in the salty water. Goat. The rose slowly grows in Owen's old grove. Goose. Beautiful music booms and humans move to the groove. Price. The shy writer types at night to fight the silence in my mind. Choice. The spoiled boy hoists the toy from the soil. Mouth. Mountains of flowers crowd the grounds about the house. Near. Deirdre's fear seriously interferes with her ideal career. Square. Beware of scarce fairies, rare mares, and scary prairie bears. Start. The Sahara party marvels at the far star on the safari. North. Laura's warm aura reforms Thor's horse for the important war. Force. The adorable boar snores hoarsely and notoriously hoards imported pork. Cure. The tourist endures rural tours of Europe and procures gourmet bourbon. Happy. The coffee, salami, spaghetti, and macaroni are ready. Letter. Sugar covers the tiger's whiskers. Comma. Bertha's and Cinderella's saga is a drama. Major players are Richard, Wilbur, and Harry are running around the treacherous river. L. Linda and Allie pull belly muscles laughing laboriously. NG. The singing mockingbird is swinging on the ring and dings the awning. TH. The thespians gather and breathe 3 authentic breaths together. H. Harry and Hilary happily harvest heaps of herbs behind the beehive. YOD. The cute, dutiful, blue cuckoo resumes cooing suitable tunes enthusiastically. W. Will and Drew whistle when the wind blows between the whimsical weeping willows. ING. Mrs. Fanning is walking and hiking in Wyoming. S. Susie lives in her sister's house on Easy Street with her Siamese cats and Siberian husky dogs.
And your meme came down from Canada?
My grandmother, both of my grandmothers, who we call meme, both of them came from Canada, Cherbourg, in Quebec, province of Quebec, and my father's side of the family came to Maine, and then for working in the mills, and then to New Bedford for machine shop work in the factories for machine shop. And my mother's mother came right to Massachusetts. Actually, my grandmother married someone from Haverstraw, New York. My mother's name, I should say, was Rosanna Adrienne Surprenant Lamotte. So she was quite French.
And where were you born?
New Bedford, Massachusetts.
And where were you raised?
I was raised in New Bedford till I was 8, and then we moved to Falmouth, Mass, on Cape Cod. So I have been here for the last 68 years.
New Bedford and then Falmouth, Mass.
Right.
All right. What languages do you speak, and if you, when did you learn each of them?
I'm bilingual. French was actually my first language because it was a French section of New Bedford that I was born in. I went to a French parochial school. So English was a second language, but then I became bilingual by the time I was 5 years old.
So you spoke French at home with your family?
I spoke French at home with my family. My parents were bilingual. My grandmother not as strong, so I always spoke French to her as a child and right even as a teen and my early, 20s until she passed. We spoke French together.
And what are the influences on your accent?
The influences on my accents would have to be by being bilingual, by certainly growing up in the same state, not really traveling that much. Both my mother and father's family came from France to Canada to Maine, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. So I may have also a little bit of a Canadian accent because of how I grew up speaking with my grandmother particularly.
So when you speak French, do people know where you're from? Or?
Well, my grandmother used to tell me as I got older that I was now speaking that Parisian French. So I believe my Canadian accent, which is a lot different, much more open sounds, was different from Parisian French.
And what about your English accent?
My English accent, I don't know. I guess I sound like somebody from New England, pretty much, New England, because we do spend a lot of time in Maine. And, I mean, I would definitely say it's a New England accent versus the foreign language they speak in the South.
Okay.
English being the foreign language.
So people know that you're from.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think about your own accent?
I guess I don't feel that I have an accent until I travel different parts of the country. I taught with a woman who was from the Midwest. She had the accent, not me. But it's because I've been here so long. I don't see it. People think I do have an accent,
And what do you think about your voice?
My voice, in what way, for example? Well, as a teacher, I think I have a strong voice because as a teacher, I had to present, speak to the class, enunciate in whatever language it was, speak loudly and clearly so my students could understand me. I don't think I mumble. And I think it's pretty clear. Si j'avais quelque chose à lire, ce sera plus facile. C'est difficile de parler quand on ne sait pas exactement ce qu'on veut dire.
What are you going to go do after this interview is done?
Après ça, je vais changer mes vêtements et après, je vais aller prendre une classe de yoga avec ma fille elle est l'institutrice de yoga et pour moi c'est formidable.
Thank you very much.
De rien, c'était un plaisir.